Inflation falls to 17.38% in July after Exim Bank to deliver 40 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines to Nigeria by 2022. Asia Pacific stocks rise. Reserve Bank of New Zealand keeps rates unchanged and oil edges lower as spread of Delta variant clouds prospects for demand. Details of this and more on Business Express, and we are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Welcome to the business side of life, and we start with the cheering news that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved implementation framework for the Petroleum Industry Act, commencing immediately so that the envisaged competitive and resilient oil and gas sector begins to take shape. In his first public statement on the new law, the president disclosed that in the past 10 years, Nigeria lost an estimated $50 billion worth of investment due to the uncertainty created by the non-passage of the PIB.
Petroleum Industry Act 2021 creates a regulatory environment that would ensure efficiency and accountability across the oil and gas value chain, attract investment, improve our revenue base, create jobs, and support our economic diversification agenda. I appeal to the host communities to look carefully at the contents of the bill, which in the implementation will bring real and lasting benefits to them. I am therefore directing all relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government to fully cooperate in ensuring the successful and timely implementation of this law. Let me now commend the leadership of the Ninth Assembly.
Everybody in the National Assembly, in both the Senate and House, from all parts of Nigeria, work for the bill to be passed. This is one bill that will benefit Nigeria as a country and benefits its people. Our states will have more revenues, our local governments will have more funds, and of course what you expect.
The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's inflation rate fell for the fourth consecutive month in July amid reduction in rise of food prices. The Statistics Office say the prices of goods and services measured by the Consumer Price Index rose by 17.38%. That is lower than 75% recorded in June. This is year-on-year change, which means that while prices continued to rise in July 2021 over July 2020, the pace of increase was slower when compared to June 2021 versus June 2020. The fall between both months was 0.37%, while the composite food index rose by 21.03% in July 2021 compared to 21.83% in June 2021. According to the NBS, this rise in the food index in June was caused by increases in the prices of milk, cheese and eggs, coffee, tea and cocoa, vegetables, bread and cereals, soft drinks and meat. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the contribution of the African Export-Import Bank is critical to the recovery process and socio-economic growth and development of the country. The Vice President said this when he received delegation of the bank in Abuja. Jide Onifade reports.
Afrexim, as explained by the delegation, is investing in trade and health infrastructure and is also involved in the procurement and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to African countries, including Nigeria, to enable the continent to achieve high immunity. The bank is also planning to establish national quality assurance centers in parts of the country in order to support and upgrade exports of commodities from Nigeria. The Vice President said it is important because one of the problems the country has had with its exports is really the problem of quality assurance and making sure that there are facilities to test the export products and get all of the agencies working together. While thanking the bank for its support, Vice President Osinbajo noted that the federal government's programs in the micro, small and medium enterprises sector, particularly in the Shared Facility Initiative under the National MSMEs Clinic, are important and deserving of Afrexim's backing. He said the initiative, which is implemented in collaboration with state governments and aimed at developing manufacturing clusters across the country, could be enhanced through partnership with the bank. Earlier in his presentation on some of the bank's projects across Nigeria, Orama said Afrexim has plans of investing in important sectors of the Nigerian economy, including health. The chief executive officer also disclosed an arrangement under the Afrexim Bank facility to deliver 400 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria over a short period of time. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the federal road users may have to pay a token for maintenance of highways and building of roads, as the Federal Executive Council last week Wednesday approved Federal Roads and Bridges tolling policy.
Highlights are that we will adopt an open tolling policy as distinct from a closed tolling policy. The difference is that on the open tolling policy, which is what we were used to before, you pay toll at a barrier over a fixed or predetermined distance. The closed toll systems means that you will pay tolls over the distance you travel and the size of your vehicle. We haven't operated that before, so we're going back to what we know. We also approve that consultations must be done, willingness to pay surveys must be done before specific roads are tolled. We also presented and Council approved that only dual carriageways out of the 35,000 kilometers should be eligible for tolling by the federal government. We have proposed and Council has approved that certain types of vehicles be exempted from paying tolls. Those are bicycles, pedal cycles, tricycles, motorcycles, and other modes of 2- or 3-wheeled transport used mainly by disadvantaged members of our community. They will be entitled to a fully 100% exemption.
And joining me from Rivers State to discuss the planned reintroduction of toll gates by the federal government is the former Director of Planning and Development, Federal Ministry of Works, Housing, Engineer Bala Nshehu. You are welcome to Business Express. Hello, Engineer Bala, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you.
I can hear you.
What necessitated the removal of the toll gates in the first place, and why the reintroduction at this moment?
Oh, thank you. Initially, when the toll were constructed in the 80s, the toll gates were being managed by the ministry. And because of that, there were a lot of leakages, and government was not getting enough money. And most of the money was going to the general public, going to the national fund anyway. So it was not used for maintenance of the roads. And because of that, the ministry decided now to engage contractors to manage the roads and to limit some money to the government. Unfortunately, it was only used as a kind of patronage. So the system was not working, it had to be abolished. Then the then president decided in 2004 that it should be demolished. But as you know, the best way to, all over the countries, people are using toll to generate revenue to maintain roads off budget. And not all roads are tollable. So we are only going to toll roads that are tollable. And in most cases, in most countries, not more than 5% of these roads are tollable, can be tolled. So in our own case, we only consider high traffic roads, especially dual carriageway, for tolling. And that is a very important item in the sense that about 90% of the roads, of traffic is on these high traffic roads. That is dual carriageway and some few single carriageway. So by the time you are able to get this road off budget, then you will be assured of continuous maintenance of that road throughout the duration of the concession of the road, maybe 10, 5, 10, or even 20 years. So I think it is a very good thing, and that is what is. Thank you.
Okay, having understood those reasons which you've just told us, what is the difference between the former toll gates and the proposed ones?
Former toll gates, it was more or less the Fridays, the fees the charge were arbitrarily fixed. But now, this time around, there's a proper procurement process. These roads have to be only competent contractors that have track record. After a proper procurement process, will be able to win the toll concession. And secondly, now we have ICRC, that's Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission. That will be a regulator for concessions for all toll roads, and not only toll roads, for concession generally. So we have now a system, a practice, that is a practice that is being followed all over the world, to have we have a concessionaire. I mean, when you have a concessionaire, you have a regulator, and also you have to ensure that your roads are continuously maintained to the standard of the Federal Ministry of Works. So there's no way you will have a concession road that will have potholes. But in the past, we used to have, you pay toll gate and you move 10 meters away, you have potholes. So there is a lot of difference between what we are now having and what was having in the past. In the past, it was just to get a token and pay it to the treasury. But now, what we can say is that we are not going to pay, we are going to hand over to an experienced concessionaire who will take care of the road for the duration of that period of the concession. And at the same time, if there's any revenue above a certain threshold that is going to accrue beyond what is the concessionaire is going to get, then that money will now have to be shared by the ministry in an agreed formula.
Okay, talking about details of the concession, talking about the financing now. Tell us about the financing model as well as the short and long-term benefits of it all.
You see, the model generally is that it's a PPP, that's a public-private partnership. The government will now choose a concessionaire after a rigorous process. And it is this concessionaire that will be responsible for maintenance. It depending on whether we build, operate, and transfer, in which case the concessionaire is responsible for construction so that he can recover his investment, make some small profit for his investment for maintenance and operation, and make some profit out of it. But in this case, the concessionaire will be able to recoup his investment within a concession period. So that is basically the difference.
Okay, yes, we understand it's a PPP arrangement, but like tax, how do we ensure transparency and accountability in the collection and management of this toll funds, in as much as it is a public-private sector initiative?
The point is, the concessionaire is in business.
Sure.
He will borrow money to invest on the roads, to maintain it during the concession period, to operate it. So in that case, he has to be sure he recoups his investment. So the issue of transparency, because the money is not going to the government now. What the government is going to get, the benefit the government is going to get, is that it's not going to spend money for maintenance of the roads. And that's a lot of money. And if you save money for maintenance, it means that the road user will benefit. In other words, you are reducing the travel time, you are also reducing the vehicle operation cost so that they don't have to get the vehicle each time they go on the roads. So that is actually the benefit of this government.
Okay, Engineer Dan Shehu, what class of roads are to be tolled, and what, in your opinion, informed their selection?
The roads that are going to be tolled is only dual carriageways that are going to be tolled.
Okay.
And if you see that these are the roads that have the necessary traffic, enough traffic to generate revenue, because if you don't have a highly traffic road, even the cost of collection will not be met. So the road must have a minimum of at least 1,500 vehicles per day and beyond. So that if you have, for example, if you have, at the rule of thumb, if you have 10,000 vehicles per day, it means that road will be able to pay for the construction and maintenance of roads. So only dual carriageway and dual carriageway bridges that qualify for concession for now. But as I said earlier, generally in most countries, the roads that are qualify for concession do not consume more than 5% of the national road network.
Well, thank you so very much for giving us insight into the way to go to make our roads better and motorable. We have been talking with Engineer Abala Dan Shehu, former Director, Planning, Development, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Thank you for coming on Business Express.
Thank you.
Well, moving on, as the federal government continued to encourage Nigerians to search for entrepreneurial venture instead of looking up to white-collar jobs, catfish in the south-south region of the country is one line of agricultural business venture dealers say is thriving. Utibe Achibong in this report x-rays availability, affordability, and lucrativeness of catfish business in Akwa Ibom State. The report.
Catfish, popularly known as Inara by the Bibios and Efix, is found in freshwater and coastal regions around the world. Scientifically referred to as siluriform, catfish business in Nigeria is like an untapped gold mine based on the fact that there is an ever-increasing need for it as the best alternative to meet the protein need of the people. While the catfish is predominantly freshwater fish, some saltwater varieties known as hawkfish also exist. On the availability of Inara in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Business News crew drove to some major markets to ascertain the costs and affordability.
This time, because the other time that we don't have much, as the customer comes, they don't see fish, they will go back. So it's not that we sell more than the other time. This particular species is mainly from this side, Akwa Ibom side.
Business is very sweet because customers are looking for the way to buy. So I don't stress myself when it is time for harvesting. It's just a phone call. They will come and pick them.
It's very costly. We can buy, we cannot sell. According to the price where we buy like 5,000, customer will now come on price 3,000. We cannot sell like that, so that it will not complete our money. Talking of say profit.
These traders who agree that catfish abounds, especially in the rainy season, and attract more sales, also number the challenges they have to surmount.
This fish is a natural product. It's not man-made. That at least if it is man-made, they will supply it due to the population. As they come from other states to buy it, we have a lot of challenge in the sea or at the beach side.
They say there is no money for government, there is no money for Akwa Ibom. You don't see fish when you go beach to buy fish, you don't see fish.
They are thieves, militants. They are killing people. The fisherman, they collect their frying boat, their engine. They will collect their money, the fish.
Dr. Bartholomew Effiong is the head of Department Food Science and Technology, University of Uyo. For him, seafood including catfish is low in saturated fat and high in omega-3, which can both protect the heart from disease and lower the amount of cholesterol in the blood.
Fish is very high in protein. In fact, among the animal sources of protein, fish has the highest and the purest in terms of the fact that in most fishes the amount of fat, except for fatty fishes, you have the lean fish, you have the fatty fishes. What we are running from in red meat is not present in fish at all.
Catfish could be dried or steamed, poached, baked and fried before eating.
Oil prices dipped on Wednesday, a fifth day of declines, with investors wary about prospects for stronger fuel demand as the use of rail, air and other forms of transport remain constrained amid surging COVID-19 cases worldwide. Brent crude was down 5 cents at $68.98 a barrel, having fallen 0.7% on Tuesday. U.S. oil lost 6 cents to $66.53 a barrel after dropping 1% in the previous session. Gold trades flat as dollar strength offsets virus fears. Let's see commodity prices. Asia Pacific stocks rise. Reserve Bank of New Zealand keeps rates unchanged. Bossy Abel has updates on global stocks.
Hello and welcome. Now on the global scene, market participants in Europe were closely monitoring economic data as UK inflation data for July showed an unexpected dip to 2% on Wednesday. DAX depreciated by 0.16%, FTSE 100 0.29%, and CAC 40 of France also dropped 0.4% at 6,793.35. In Asia, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand has kept interest rates unchanged despite expectations of a hike. This has affected Asian market positively in Wednesday trading, as the Nikkei rose 0.69% at 27,585.19. Shanghai Composite was 1.11% to close 3,485.29, and the Hang Seng Index also topped 0.47% at 25,867.01 as at its final hour of trading. In the United States, stock futures fell slightly on Wednesday, pointing to another day of declines for the Dow Jones Industrial Average after it snapped a 5-day winning streak on Tuesday. The Dow futures was down 0.24% at 35,175. S&P 500 also dropped 0.12%, while Nasdaq Composite was marginally positive at 0.01% to close 14,997.25. For African stocks, the bulls dominated the session, with Tunisia's Tunidex, Nairobi's All Share, and Ghana's GSE Composite posting gains. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 was marginally positive, while Namibia's overall index dropped by 0.08% at 1,537.28. That's the market review. I am Bossede Abel.
Thank you, Bosede. And that wraps this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us by sending us comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Be safe out there.